Hi, everybody. This is Mark from Beyond Profit, a Global Perspective. Welcome back. Are you someone who teaches politics or other social sciences? And if so, have you ever thought about using games or simulations in your classroom? Before you turn away and say, no, I thought about this before, I'm not interested, or whatever, you probably have not for a couple of reasons, right? One is that it's too hard to set up, and the other one is it probably takes too much time. You're thinking, how can I get done everything I need to get done in a classroom and be able to do this fun additional game simulation activity? Well, look at what just showed up on my doorstep yesterday. And yes, I've been waiting about 24 hours to unbox it just so that I can do this with you. Check this out. So in this box is my new book. This is something I've been working on with 3 other co-editors and dozens of colleagues from all over the world who have contributed games and simulations to this book. There are over 100 short games in here, things that you can do in one session or less, and they are plug and play. I would like to thank the Academy, Taylor and Francis, Mom and Dad, God, all of the people who share and subscribe to this channel. Okay, a little too much? Yeah. I'm still very proud of this accomplishment. There was a lot of work that was put into this. So let's have a look. So I'm going to take my trusty letter opener. I actually got this when I was in Russia in the 1990s. Another little international factoid. Okay, what do we have here? All right, look at that. There's several copies in there. This is so cool. Let me have a look here. Okay, right. Here it is. Short games and active learning in political science, beating the clock. So there it is. Like this is the first time I've touched a physical copy of this thing. It's like this never gets old. I mean, I've gone through this. This is the 4th time, really should be the 5th time. It's like the Palgrave International Relations Encyclopedia, where I published a chapter in that. Did not share a physical copy with me, but hey, props to Taylor and Francis. It's like we had dozens and dozens of contributors to this volume, and they still sent one out to everybody. So, hooray for Taylor and Francis. That's pretty cool. This is a little bit weird because most of the time when people do unboxing, they're doing like product reviews, and this is my product, and I'm giving it an awesome review because, of course, it's a great book. And here's something else that's special. Do you see that book cover? Do you see that photograph? I actually took that photograph, right? So now I have a credit as a professional photographer. Yeah, seriously. Like the publisher was showing us all sorts of abstract pictures and things, and we were not satisfied with any of them. And I just thought, well, okay, I'll see what I can come up with. And so what I did is I took a bunch of the games and little toys that I have around the classroom that I use in different activities. I mean, even like, there's my peace bear, right? This is a mascot I sometimes use in my classes, so if they get stressed out, then they can hug the peace bear, spreads love throughout the land and flies around the classroom. So yeah, it's like I got all this stuff out along with a clock, photographed it in this very room, turned off all the lights, took some lamps and put lights at different angles, took a whole lot of pictures, and then sent them back to my co-editors, and they thought it was a good concept, and they picked the picture they liked the most, and so that made the cover. That's a first for me. Where did this idea start? I guess it really started with the previous volume that we did. Simulations Political Science Classroom, Games Without Frontiers. Several years ago, I started doing presentations on teaching games in the classroom at some different conferences, and I kept running into some of the same people, and I wanted to connect with all of them. It sort of became kind of a community, and I met someone at this conference who actually told me about how much he loved doing games and simulations in the classroom, but that he would never get tenure because the older professors in the department had just thought he was playing around, like these activities didn't have any real meaning, that active learning was like, they didn't take it very seriously. They were very old school about this. And I thought that was crazy. And that attitude is not abnormal among some in the social science community, where there are a lot of professors that are very traditional. We should be lecturing, you should be listening, take some notes and do the exam. And what I thought was necessary was a theoretical and a practical justification for why this is good for education, why keeping the students interested, engaged, and active in the classroom is good for their retention and good for their overall experience. And so this book in part addresses this question. We went through, did lots of research, got together with some different colleagues, and ultimately it was James Pigeon Fielder and Ryan Gibb, two of my colleagues, who helped me put this thing together. It justifies, makes a good argument for why it is that this is good teaching practice, but it also talks about how to build games. But it also contained a number of games that not only were plug-and-play games of varying lengths, some of them you could play for an entire semester, and some of them you could play for one class period, but it also contained a lot of research. Like, they had done some research on their students while playing these games in order to demonstrate that there were positive educational benefits from them. So this is in part practical book, but in part also theoretical, like here's a good reason why you should be doing this thing. So shortly after this book was published, one of our contributors, Derek Glasgow, he's another friend of ours, got together with Pigeon Fielder and Ryan Gibb at the MPSA in Chicago. I missed out on that one, very sad. But while they were there, they got together and put together the idea for this book. They were talking around to different publishers and different people, and I think I got this story right, but there seemed to be a demand for people to want to do short games, that it's all fine and good, you got these semester-long things that you can do, but we just don't have time to do that. We want something that's simple. Do you think there would be a demand for something like that? We asked around our community, and we thought that there was, and so they asked me to get involved in it too this time. So what's in this book? Let's have a little look here. So look up here at the front. We've got a table of contents. It's got an intro chapter that I co-wrote with my co-editors, again sort of reviewing some of the literature and some of the ground that we covered in the previous book. And then you find that the book is divided into multiple sections, covering all of the major subfields of political science. So the first chapter is political science and political theory, and then we go on to American politics, then public policy and public administration. After that is comparative politics, and finally we have international relations. Now the general section, like I said, it included political theory as well. I edited that. That's one of my areas of specialization. Derek focuses more on American politics and public policy. Ryan, Pigeon, and I all are comparative politics scholars and international relations scholars, so we collectively worked on some of this, and then we all went through and edited the whole thing. So it's got these different sections, and inside each one of these sections, you will find an individual game. And there are a lot in here. Like I said, there are scholars from all over the world who have contributed to this volume. And I'm just going to open the book to a random place. What the Prisoner's Dilemma Can Teach Us About International Relations Theory by Philip Holquist at the University of New Mexico. If you look here, there's a place with details up at the top. And that's standard across all of the chapters. I mean, these things were standardized, these games were standardized so that you can just look at it and understand the structure and be able to play it, kind of like instructions to a board game. So the first thing is details. It has materials needed, chalkboard, whiteboard, scratch paper and pen, right? Minimal stuff. Cost, none. Number of players, 2 to 40 students. Intended course, Introduction to International Relations. Time needed, 50 minutes. So a short-ish or normal kind of size length class period. And then the next thing it has is a description, sort of like this is what the game is about. And then it gives you the course of play, how to set up the game, how to play the game. This particular thing, it's got actually a picture of how you set up some tables to keep track of things. There's a few pages of instructions. I mean, each one of these things is about maybe 2 to 4 pages or something like that. So they're short, they're simple, they have the directions, it has debriefing questions suggested. So lots of things in there that sets it up for you, so you really don't have to think about it. All you need to know is like what's the class, what's the unit we're on, read about it, set up a few things, and you're good to go. So if you're not part of our active learning community, I would just invite you to get connected. Get connected to me, get connected to other people. I think that this really has some benefit for a number of different types of teachers, right? Like if you're a college, university, if you're doing an undergraduate, grad school, anything like that, I think there's a lot of good stuff here. Like I teach grad school and I use this stuff. I mean, even in the business stuff that I teach in the MBA program, I use simulations like these. And so I really don't think it matters what level. In fact, I would go so far as to say that if you're a high school teacher or even a middle school teacher, if there is a topic that you're teaching in here that's relevant to what you're doing, then you'll find something in here that any teenager can relate to. And I just think that active learning is something that helps everybody. I mean, you can be young and you can say, oh, they don't have that great of attention span. But I'll tell you what, when I've got adults that I'm teaching between 6 and 10 at night, that's a really tough gig. And so keeping things busy, keeping things active is something that the adults appreciate as well. I think active learning reaches everybody at all ages. So as I conclude, I've got a couple of questions, and I'd be curious to hear what you think. Maybe you can leave some comments down below. If you're part of this community, or if you want to be part of this community, what would you like to see next? I could take some of these simulations and break them down and explain them. I could even interview some of the contributors to this volume, and we learn more about their simulations and what they do and how they do it and so on. It's an idea I've been playing around with. Or maybe there's something else you're thinking that you would really benefit you. So please let me know in the comments below. So until next time, see you later.